Um, there is no real definitive answer to what is Krishnamurti education, especially when it comes to implementation. So I could have easily put the subtitle, The Educational Vision of J. Krishnamurti and Its Eternal Mystery of Implementation. It's entirely, that would have been completely appropriate. So I'm in no way trying to say that what I'm offering today is definitive. I would even go so far as to say there is no definitive answer to the question of what is Krishnamurti education, especially in the classroom, what does it mean? So that's an important point to get over with, so we'll start with that. So, Krishnamurti was, as we all know, a sage and a philosopher, visionary. But there's one thing he really wasn't, and that was a classroom teacher. As we've come to know the profession today, he was not a classroom teacher. And if you look at his work as a classroom teacher, you notice that there's this really strong emphasis on a lot of stuff that goes around in a classroom, but not so much on academics. So school could, teaching is a very complex art form, but you could break it down into two parts. You could say there's academics, which we all are aware of, and then you could say there's something called classroom management, which is more how people relate in the classroom, the role of the teacher, all the rest of it. So, Krishnamurti, if you look, as I'm sure many of you have, at his writings on education, what you find is there's a real lot of emphasis on the teacher as an authority figure, about right relationships in the classroom, all this stuff. Not very much about academics. So, because he was a sage and a visionary and a philosopher, he didn't get caught up in that whole pedagogy that sees the thing completely opposite. So in a way, he got it backwards. If you go to a teacher training college, I don't know if any of you have been in one, what you'll find is that the priorities are reversed. You get very little on classroom management or the culture of the classroom, and you get a lot on academics. And academics is what really matters, right? To most people, when a parent looks at a school, they come to Oak Grove, they want to know about the academics. And that's growing more and more. People are really interested in academics. So that's been the focus, but not for Krishnamurti. Right? No, Krishnamurti was very interested in what you might call the classroom atmosphere, the culture of the school. Very interested. So I'm going to suggest today, to start things off, that he got it right. That for all the emphasis on academics, and yes, academics is really important, it's actually not as important as we think. And what really is important is the school culture and the atmosphere in the classroom. That's what I'm going to suggest to start things off. So, okay. I'm going to read a little bit. Please indulge me. From the introduction to give you a feel for this. Broadly speaking, classroom teaching revolves around two basic elements. One is traditionally called classroom management, and the other is academics. Classroom management is normally seen as the techniques teachers use to leverage their authority in the service of controlling student behavior. Both classroom management and academics require learning on the part of the student. In fact, being the highly social animals that we are, it's been suggested that many of the, quote, lessons imparted in the attempt to control behavior and motivate students are more lasting than the purely academic instruction such techniques are meant to enable. The implicit social norms imparted through classroom management techniques have been called the school's, quote, hidden curriculum. These include fostering intellectual dependency, promoting uncritical acceptance of authoritarian individuals and structures, reducing learning to mechanisms for attaining rewards, and inculcating highly competitive attitudes. So I'm going to give you a pop quiz. What do you think is more lasting in a child's development in beyond into their life? This is already good. The dates and names of historic battles in the Civil War. That's your first choice. Second choice, B, intellectual dependency. Okay, so here, I'll repeat that, make sure you got it right, okay. The dates in the Civil War, names of the battles, what's more important, that or intellectual dependency, learning intellectual dependency? How many?
Third choice.
Yeah, third choice is not sure. Okay. All right.
Some of both.
Okay, so
More important to who?
to the student in their life and their development. Right. So I think I'm gonna give it away, and I'm gonna say that intellectual dependency is really much lasts a lot longer. I can't remember the dates of historical battles in the Civil War. In fact, I think I studied it 3 times in my great public school career, and I can't really name more than Gettysburg, and I really don't remember when that happened. So, but I am sure that I learned to depend, or rather to accept expertise unquestionably. I'm sure I learned that. So, so this sort of hidden curriculum is really, really important in school. So, in fact, research does suggest that the vast majority of what we learn fact-wise, and a lesser degree in skills, depending how much you use those skills when you leave school, lasts maybe a year or 2 after you graduate. Lots of that information just goes away.